If you want to add different and exotic flavors to your dinner, then a farmer's market like Pike Place is where you want to shop. Here you'll find everything from monkfish to mushrooms. And when we think of mushrooms, we tend to think of these little white button varieties. But in Kentucky, there's a family cultivating some exotic mushrooms in a most unusual way.
We have a few mushrooms on this one.
Billy Webb knows it takes more than a discerning eye
Not ready yet.
and nimble hands to pluck the perfect mushroom. The retired Navy officer turned Kentucky mushroom farmer can tell in an instant if his commercially grown shiitakes are ripe for the picking.
You're looking for this little curl that we have on here, and then when it's curled like this is actually perfect.
It's taken years for Billy to develop his mushroom moxie, but in that time, he and his wife Becky have become sought-after experts in the field of mushroom management.
We're the people that they reference on what scale of farm to do and how to do things.
The Webb started producing mushrooms back in 2002 on their 200-acre Shiitake farm at the edge of the Daniel Boone National Forest in Bath County, Kentucky. At that time, the state wanted to promote shiitake mushrooms as an alternative to tobacco crops. Billy liked the idea but needed to run the numbers first.
Then I went home and did the old Excel spreadsheet and said, honey, we're going to do mushrooms. There's $1 million to be made.
For this organic mushroom operation, the Webbs have a growing yard. Logs of eastern white oak timber on which thousands of shiitake mushrooms will sprout and be harvested.
The first year, our concept was that we were going to do 7,000 logs a year, and we suddenly realized that that was getting a little out of hand with 7,000 logs.
Billy scaled back the number of logs to about 4,000 a year once he saw the prep work and manual labor involved. To get things ready for planting, small holes are drilled a few inches apart along the length of each log. Then mushroom spawn, similar to mushroom seed, is inserted into each of the holes. The seeding dates are labeled on the logs, which are then stacked in the growing yard for anywhere from 6 to 18 months. White patches on the end of the logs appear when the mushrooms are ready to fruit. But there's one last laborious step. Billy has the unenviable task of loading all these logs, sometimes 120 or more, into a huge tank where they will soak for 24 hours. Cold water triggers the mushrooms to grow. The water-soaked logs are then covered in plastic for the next 5 to 7 days. That's when the mushrooms start to magically appear, and Billy knows precisely when to pick them.
I would look at this mushroom and tell you that this mushroom should have been picked about 8 or 10 hours ago.
Why is that?
Because it's started to open up. The veil has broken on it, and it doesn't have a curl on it.
But just like other farmers, the Webbs have been forced to deal with changing market prices and long-term drought, conditions that have made their growing yard unfeasible and unprofitable.
Basically, this log operation that you are viewing is dead. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's not economically feasible, actually, for me to keep trying to do it.
So Billy began growing his shiitake mushrooms on sawdust blocks in a huge climate-controlled greenhouse. It's a move that's also allowed him to expand his crops to include lion's mane, royal trumpet, and oyster mushrooms.
We grow 16 different varieties of oyster mushrooms here.
The oyster mushrooms are cultivated in 20-pound plastic bags filled with pasteurized wheat straw and mushroom seed. It takes about 2 weeks for them to form, a process known as pinning. The bags are then placed in the grow room for 3 months where they will begin to fruit.
There you go. Good cut.
Billy and his wife Becky always have a few extra hands when it comes time to pick mushrooms.
There you go. One more time. Squeeze it. Okay, that came off there really clean.
All 4 of their kids have different responsibilities.
They are involved in everything from helping here at the farm make mushroom bags up, pick mushrooms, put boxes together, and then they always help with deliveries. Can you put some more mushrooms in?
Each task teaches the Webb boys valuable lessons about life on the farm.
They've learned that it's a lot of work and that Mommy and Daddy are always busy and we're always doing something with the mushrooms.
Becky handles the retail side of the business. Just as with production, marketing has brought its own set of challenges.
When we first started doing this, I wouldn't say that there was a high demand for gourmet mushrooms in Kentucky.
So she started to look beyond natural food stores and farmers markets to restaurants like this one in Midway, Kentucky, where chefs cook up a medley of dishes.
Really, that chef-grower relationship is what helped us expand our business too, because we started with the shiitake mushrooms and they started saying, well, what else do you have?
The Webbs hope that ramping up greenhouse production can help them meet restaurant sales opportunities in other areas of the Mid-South and Southeast.
We have a market for over 1,000 pounds of mushrooms per week that we know. If we have the mushrooms, they're sold.
And they'll also explore health food sales, something that will draw upon Becky's PhD in kinesiology and neuroscience.
A lot of people don't realize we have all these different aspects that we can move into, but that's where our degrees actually come back into play.
This new farming venture has forced the Webbs to explore every resource imaginable to promote and sell their highly perishable crop. But the work has also brought them together as a family, with important teaching moments along the way.
To be successful, you're going to have to work hard. No matter what it is, you got to work hard at it.